Welcome to another episode of Simon Says, where facts come first. I'm your host, Jenny Simon. And today, as promised, when I visited you earlier on in the week, we're going to delve into the RGPF press conference a little deeper, share some stuff with you. I know there are those who don't have the capacity, the online, the social media privilege. And so we're going to share that with them today. Some of you would have seen it already, but we're going to delve into it a little bit more. And of course, some other housekeeping matters we're going to deal with. So we take a quick break, come right back, and get into the meat of the matter.
Thank you for tuning in to Simon Says. To ensure that you never miss an episode, click subscribe and make sure to turn on the notifications by clicking on the notification bell icon. See you at the next episode.
Welcome back. Promise made, promise kept. So let's get to it. The RGPF finally faced the fire and did their press conference after ducking for at least 8 days. They postponed, they canceled. Anyhow, they came out. It was disappointing and it was embarrassing, to say the least. I mean, I could have heard them after the whole press conference thing saying, maybe we should not have gone all together. But they came out. And as I said, that was my opinion, really. It was embarrassing. It was disappointing. It was just a whole lot of tatter. But I'll have you decide for yourself. So let's get to it. The press conference was hosted by the Commissioner of Police, Don McKenzie, and the Assistant Commissioner of Police, ACP Vanny Cohen, and the moderator, Assistant Superintendent of Police, ASP Douglas. In his opening statement, I'll give you a snippet of what the Commissioner had to say.
It was on Sunday, the 18th of February, 3 prisoners, namely Ron Mitchell, Trevon Robinson, and Atiba Stanislaus, escaped police custody at the South St. George Police Station. Information suggests that on about Monday, they commandeered a catamaran named Simplicity with 2 occupants on board, namely Kathleen Brandel and Ralph Henry, both U.S. citizens. They headed to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Information suggests that while traveling between Grenada and St. Vincent, they disposed of the occupants. We have later on, somewhere about Wednesday, they were captured. The 3 escapees was captured by the St. Vincent authorities, and now they are in custody with the St. Vincent police force.
Okay, now nothing to talk about there yet. He just gave his introduction. Let's hear the introduction of ACP Cohen.
Good morning to you, members of the media, members of the Grenada population within Grenada and in the diaspora. I know this is a long-awaited press conference, and we are happy to bring you information as we have them. Commissioner has alluded to what has happened with regards to the escaped prisoners and the investigation in St. Vincent. I will delve a little bit further into say that in another escape incident, we have over the past few days extended significant resources and man-hours, mounting intense operations to recapture another fugitive who was escaped while attending the magistrate court on Wednesday, February 21st, 2024. Levon Date, who was charged for the death of Canadian citizen Wayne Smart in 2023, has been out on the run since, and we appeal to members of the public for their assistance in recapturing Mr. Date, who is considered armed and dangerous. In other crime-related incidents, on the morning of Friday, February 23rd, 2024, police responded to a gunshot around the Market Square area in St. George. Police officers in the vicinity mounted a chase of the individual responsible. However, he was not apprehended. Later that morning, in what appears to be a reprisal for the Market Square incident, two men from the St. George's Town, namely Melik Chidik and Camry Gittins, went to Grandance brandishing what appears to be a firearm and assaulted several persons, including a police officer, in the process. They then traveled to the Maurice Bishop Highway, where they assaulted and robbed a young man from the Grandance area at gunpoint and videoed the incident. Subsequently, a sting operation set up by the police later captured them, and a .22 revolver and 6 rounds of ammunition were found in the possession of Mr. Chidik. Having been captured by police, some of the persons who were at the Grandance Beach during the brandishing of the firearm attempted to exert vigilante justice on them and had to be restrained by police, as can be seen in a video that has been making the round Friday into the weekend. Appropriate charges will be filed regarding those involved in this incident. The arrest of Chidik and Gittins gave rise to a police operation in the Four Roads area in St. George, where an additional 2 illegal firearms and 11 rounds of ammunition were found. These men have now been charged with robbery with violence and firearm-related crimes and will be brought to court in due course. Also, on Friday, the 23rd of February 2024, police was called to the scene of a man lying on the side of the road in Riverside, St. Patrick's, who was later confirmed dead by a visiting doctor. The man was identified as Jude Hippolyte, 56 years, unemployed, of Riverside. Investigations into the discovery is underway, and an autopsy to determine the cause of death was ordered.
So we've heard a long string of crime-related events on Friday, the 23rd of February 24. Later on in this press conference, the commissioner was asked when last he spoke to the chief, the prime minister, and minister for security, national security. And his answer was a week ago. Basically, he didn't, when he gave the date, it was almost 8 days ago since he spoke to the prime minister. And that was, I think, when the 3 convicts got away from the South St. George police station. Friday, this press conference was held on Monday. On Friday, the 23rd, when the press conference was, before the press conference was held, that was the first day they were supposed to have it and canceled. The string of events, including gunshots going off at the marketplace in St. George and the Spice Market in Grand Anse, with tourists bought in the harbor, with tourists visiting these markets, tourists, locals, vendors, speculators, visitors, everybody running for their lives on Friday from these marketplaces. The prime minister didn't see it fit to call the commissioner, or vice versa, the commissioner to call the prime minister to call from where he was, because you're aware and you're hearing these things and you haven't heard from your commissioner. The Prime Minister didn't see it fit to call the commissioner to find out what is going on. What are you doing? What do you have in place? I'm coming home. You know, some ordinary person will say, I'm coming home. Nothing. To say, to give your people that you love so much, that you put first all the time, putting people first, your motto, that you would come home or you would give us some kind of reassurance. Go in the corner with your phone, like my boy in St. Vincent, Ralph, and call and do a video and say to the people, all is going to be well. I've spoken to the commissioner, we put that in place, but you don't have the manpower to put it in place. We'll come to that later. And you guys, there are those of you who still think it's okay that the Prime Minister did not call, did not make any statement thus far. You are hypocrite. There is not another word to describe people like you, but hypocrites. Moving right along. The first question from the press conference came from Mr. George Wood.
Commissioner, my name is George Wood. I represent the New Today. Mr. Commissioner, let's get the ball rolling. The first question, who is really to be blamed for this massive failure to keep these prisoners under the control of RGPF, which has now resulted in this tragedy? Who really is to be blamed, given the facts that, as you know them?
There is, what is apparent a breach, an investigation was commissioned, as our news release or press release indicate. Our standard way of investigation is to ask officers to submit reports. That phase has been completed. We were not satisfied that we got to the bottom of it, so I have since directed a senior investigator to do a thorough investigation, the aim of which is A, to look at our system and procedures, and B, with the aim of correcting if there is a need for correction, and B, to hold persons accountable should we find anyone violated or did not comply with established procedures.
If at the end of the day, fingers are pointing at RGPF, are you prepared to accept responsibility on behalf of the police force for the blunders of RGPF? Are you prepared to come to the public and accept responsibility?
As I said, that there is an investigation on the way, and upon the conclusion of the investigation, we will do what is appropriate.
Now, I need to ask another question. If these three prisoners had committed such major crimes as you alluded to in your press releases and brought them in front of a magistrate, why were they not sent directly to the prison instead of South St. George Police Station, given that these are dangerous men? Why were they not sent directly to the prison and not South St. George, which have its own problems, which we'll get to?
If I would take that question, Mr. Worm, we do not have the authority to send prisoners directly to Her Majesty's prison. Having been charged, there is due process for every person charged under the law. And part of the due process is to have these prisoners appear before a magistrate where the decision will be made as to whether they're placed on bail or whether they're remanded. These prisoners, by saying that they were in the holding cell, is the transferring point between the police and the court. So they would have been in court in couple days after they were placed at the South St. George Police Station. The determination as to what would have happened to them would have been made by a magistrate once they were taken to court.
So how long did they stay in the holding cells? How many days? Before
I-
they were...
I can't be definitive about the answer, Mr. Wong, but I am by law, once you're arrested, the next possible thing, you go to court as quickly as is possible. They escaped custody on Sunday, so I would assume that they were arrested over the weekend and would have been taken to court on Monday morning. So we could not have sent them directly to the prison. We do not have that authority to do that.
The Assistant Commissioner of Police in charge of crime in the RGPF came to a press conference making assumptions. Moving along, let's hear from Callistra Faria.
Oh, sure, no problem. What is the status of the officers who are on the investigation for this situation at the South St. George and the officer in charge? And have they offered their resignation yet?
Reference to the resignation, no, I have not received any such. However, I would say to you that one officer, a supervisor, who was due to proceed on vacation leave effective today, his vacation leave is deferred to a date pending the conclusion of the investigation. He has since been transferred to another station so as to ensure that we have a thorough investigation of this matter.
And so only one, and this is a follow-up, not a second question. So only one officer involved in this incident has had anything affected in any way. All of the others remain at the South St. George Police Station.
As you would appreciate, that an investigation is on the way. And while it may look, what we want to ensure is that we do a thorough one, and whatever the posture that we are satisfied would allow us to do that, that's what we are pursuing. Now, our initial actions, it's not meant to be the end of it. Upon the conclusion of the investigation, the recommendations and follow-up actions will be taken, and as I said, to address two things. One, whether there was a system failure or whether it was a case of somebody did slip up.
Are you also looking into whether officers colluded in this, whether or not there might have been bribes, or are you just looking at whether procedures were not properly followed?
All aspects of that investigation is on the table, will be looked at.
Okay, my second question, sure, sir. My second question, and Mr. Worm had quite a few bites at that first apple, so I will proceed unless you cut off my mic. How many requisition orders are in for remedying the problems? I understand that there were some issues with a door, the security system at the police station. How many requisition orders have been received? I understand that recommendations were made. There was a previous incident. Recommendations were made that apparently were not followed. Can you update me on that? And requisition orders, how many requests were made to fix the problem, and why were the recommendations not followed?
Let me say to you that I personally visited the station immediately after the reported escape. And I am satisfied that if proper procedures were followed, that we should not have an escape. The arrangements in that location has sufficient safety to prevent an incident like that occurring.
Breathe, Commissioner. Breathe. How far apart are your contractions? Breathe. If proper procedure was followed, the cell would have been safe. He also said that the officer, the supervisor there at the time was transferred. He should have been suspended, not transferred. What we transfer him to do? To go and make more blunders? He should have been suspended until the conclusion of the investigation, not transferred. What are we doing, Commissioner? But let's move along. We had the next question was from ABC News.
Hi, my name is Ansel Gibbs. I am from ABC News. My first question is, you have said that you believe that Ralph and Kathy, the two Americans from the yacht, they're dead. Can you share with us, what led you along to believing that?
They did? They said? I didn't quite get it.
Can you please repeat that question, sir?
Yeah. You have said that Ralph and Kathy, the two Americans who were aboard the yacht, you believe they are dead. Can you share with us, what led the police to believe? What are the signs, or what did you become convinced that they are both dead? What helped you to feel that way?
I would defer to ACP Bailey position on when asked in the Sunday's edition of the Bob Report. He referred many times to these individuals as missing persons, and I would like to adopt that designation.
But you have said that even at the start of the press conference, you did say that you believe they were killed by the opening of the press conference. You did say that.
We have nothing conclusive to say that the individuals are dead. We still hold out hope that in spite what might be a low probability that they will turn up alive somewhere, that they're alive.
ABC got them off guard. Did you see the reaction of the moderator when he heard ABC? He didn't know what to do. It's not like they didn't hear the question or they didn't understand it, but they went into a little bit of shock. So they had to ask again. No, the gentleman from ABC News, I highly doubt he know anything about the Bob Report. What are you telling him about from Sunday on the Bob Report? Listen, how many centimeters now? Let's move on. Let's move on. We're gonna hear from Rena Pay from the GBN News. Now, the question was on the escape of Mr. Levon Date. That happened on Friday the 23rd as well at the Grenville Magistrate Court. Let's hear Ms. Rena Pay.
Good morning, everyone. Rena Pay Thomas, GBN News. I have a few questions. Under what circumstances did Levon Date escape? Can you relay that for me? Second, are you seeking any regional assistance for Date, understanding that the 3 escapees previously, we found them in St. Vincent? And what conversation have you been having with the U.S. authorities since the 2 missing persons are U.S. nationals?
I'll answer the last part, which is conversation. I am in conversation with the U.S. representative in Grenada. That's much I can say reference to that.
Due to the double-barrel nature of your question, I am not sure that I remember vividly, accurately the other 2, but I'll attempt to answer one that I think seems to suggest or ask the question, the circumstances under which Date escaped. Date was taken from the cell to use the bathroom at the Grenville Magistrate Court, when he pushed his way past the police officers and escaped. That is the information that we have had. I don't sure that I remember your other question. I'm truly sorry.
It's in terms of regional
Oh, yes. You did ask about the regional collaboration. As is expected now, and have been seen in our last collaboration with Trinidad and Tobago, the region has now become one place. And so one incident in one nation of the region becomes an incident for the entire region. We continue to collaborate with all our neighboring islands as it relates to crimes, as it relates to guns, as it relates to escapees. We have that networking among the region, and we're going to continue to use all of the resources that are available to us, whether it's in St. Vincent, whether it's Trinidad, whether it's St. Lucia. It is something that the Caribbean come to expect, that we work collaboratively as criminals are doing to ensure that we keep not only Grenada, but the region as safe as we can.
I've been laughing, and because some of it kind of coming across really funny, but this is a serious matter. This is our Commissioner of Police, the highest order in the police force. This is Grenada to the world. You all like to say 473 to the world? Well, this is 473 to the world. Who hired this man to be Commissioner of Police? Right? You are here saying you spoke to the U.S. representative here in Grenada, the embassy. What happened to the families of the two individuals that were kidnapped and missing on earth? You know, by then was killed and thrown overboard, because we've heard the Vincentian police saying that the guys confessed. They didn't say on air what they confessed. So I am almost certain they would have spoken to you and told you what the guys said. Okay, you don't want to say it because it's early yet, and you figure, as you say, they might turn up somewhere. Okay? Who's speaking to the families of these two men, of the two individuals? I'm sorry. Who's speaking to them? But let's move on. Mr. Cohen, or ACP Cohen, I'm sorry, pardon me, sir, said that Mr. Date pushed his way past the police officers. Is that what he said? He pushed his way past? I want to just let him go. He pushed the police and he passed. But we'll come to that a little bit lower later on, with what should happen when a criminal and a murder accused has to leave the prison to go to court. So we're moving along, and we had a question from Miss Princess Paul. She is a freelance journalist. Miss Princess Paul.
Go ahead, Mrs. Paul. Go ahead.
Okay, yes. The individual in Levon Date, he's accused of murder and burning the body. Were the police escorts of this particular prisoner briefed in terms of handling this type of criminal?
I will take this question to say that all precautionary measures were put in place to transport the prisoner from the prison to the Grenville Magistrate Court, which was successfully done. We are aware of the circumstances of Mr. Date's imprisonment, and once prisoners of that nature are being moved, we ensure that adequate safety and security measures are in place, and in this case, we did not let up where that is concerned. It's unfortunate the escape happened, but we did everything that we needed to do to ensure that the transportation to the court was in place.
Just a quick follow-up.
Can we allow her to finish, please? Any other question from you, Ms. Paul?
As it relates to the RGPF protocol, it says that SSU and RU must be involved in escorting them to and from the court. Was this followed? You're saying this was followed in the Grenville incident?
Can you please repeat that question?
Okay, the existing RGPF protocol in place for handling dangerous prisoners, it says that SSU and RRU must be involved in escorting them to and from the courts. Was this followed in the case of the Granville incidents?
I don't know where the authority for your assertion comes from in terms of the protocols of the RGPF, but as I indicated, that we have done all that we needed to do to ensure the safety and security of the prisoners. This matter too is being investigated. It is not an open and shut case. We want to know the circumstances, or all of the circumstances that are involved in the escape of this particular prisoner. And at some point, we may be able to delve a little bit deeper and provide more information to you as we continue to investigate the circumstances surrounding this particular escape.
Listen, I need the button here. Mr. Common, stop beating around the bush. Were SSU and RRU people there? There was a protocol put in place by Commissioner Bido. Were SSU and RRU people there at that Granville station when the murder accused escaped? Stop beating around the bush.
I am not beating around the bush, Mr. Wong. Whenever we come to a press conference, we come to say what we know as a fact. I don't believe any one of us sitting here has any preconceived intention to mislead the public or mislead the media on any issue whatsoever. So we're not here to be shady or defensive of what has happened. What has happened has happened. We resent the fact that it has happened, and all we can do, Mr. Ward, is to go back, put systems and structures in place to correct issues that we have had. But to say that that's a protocol that we have not followed, I don't think that is true.
He don't think that is true. And that's what he was doing all along. He don't know. He's assuming. Not even assuming, because anybody looked at, I saw clips of it in the news, and there were no signs of SSU and RRU around unless they were out in the street standing by their vehicle, right? And so the question is, were there SSU and RRU present? Yes or no? And you don't think it is true? Stop assuming. You listen. How is it a prisoner could push past SSU, RRU, police, other prisoners, and just so? Protocol was not followed. Oh God. Let's move on. Question coming from MTV.
Good morning. Troy Hill here, TV News. So my first question is, Commissioner McKenzie or Ms. Kerr, are you satisfied that enough was done to comb the area sufficiently before the three escapees left the island? Are you satisfied that enough was done to comb the area in the search for the three escapees? My second question, what are the protocols with regards to how the men are housed at the South St. George police station? And could we see a change going forward with regards to that established procedure at this point?
I am satisfied that upon the escape of the three individuals, I can just tell you that immediately I called an executive meeting. That was on Sunday. Mobilized resources, and we did, I hate to say best, but I would say that we did what we felt was necessary. A very aggressive effort in recapturing these individuals. In terms of procedures at the South St. George Police Station, it is anticipated that upon the conclusion of that investigation, that we would see, there are set procedures. We would see how much of it was complied with. We would see the investigation would hopefully reveal where the shortcomings took place.
So there were shortcomings. There were shortcomings because the guy escaped. I mean, there's no if, but, or because there was. We know that. What resources was mobilized, Mr. Commissioner? Because you call an executive meeting, you say the resources was mobilized. Nothing. that the RGPF did here on island. All you know, Wednesday, you got a call that these guys were caught in St. Vincent. What were the resources that were mobilized? As I said, when I visited you guys earlier on in the week, the guys hijacked the catamaran, the people's yacht, from Panday Beach Bay. They left at 10 o'clock in the evening. Nobody stopped. No, there was nobody on the waters. No patrol to stop the vessel to say everybody's okay on there. Where are you going? I mean, I watch enough movie to know what to do, and I hope you do, right? Nobody. So they left Grenada uninterrupted, straight to St. Vincent. So what resources was mobilized? You guys told us that one of these criminals is a sailor. You told us that, you know. He is a sailor. Moving along. We have a lot to do in limited time, as you know. So we're moving along. The next question came from a colleague of Mr. Worm from the New Today.
So you have dispatched officers to St. Vincent to look into the issues involving the 3 escapees. So can you clear the air on the manner in which the Americans allegedly, you mentioned that they're still alive, but do you have any information regarding their whereabouts or anything regarding that?
No.
Okay. So who has jurisdiction in the case? Is it involving Americans? Would it be Grenada or would it be St. Vincent? So as a part of your own investigation, have you ascertained exactly where the alleged incident took place with the Americans?
You are speaking about issues kind of like way above my pay grade and my competency.
I had to repeat that one. I had to. You have no information? I mean, you didn't speak to the police, the police in St. Vincent? You have no information. And the contractions, the pain look as though getting hotter. The contractions are getting closer. Huh? Let's hear from Mr. George Worm again. Did we going into wrong tune now?
Cohen. When the gentleman in Grenville was being sent to court, did you, who can give the instructions, give instructions for him to be accompanied by SSU and RRU? Did you give such instructions? And were they obeyed or disobeyed?
Mr. Worm, these are issues that I do not wish to speak about publicly. This is issues that have national security implications, and I don't think it is fair for me to say to the nation and the world what sort of security posturing that goes into movements of prisoners. So I don't think I want to speak of
this. It's a very simple question, very simple, because the protocol is there for RRU and SSU, and we see them all the time around the court accompanying on that particular day. Did you give instructions for them to be there or not?
Mr. Worm, my answer remains what it is.
Stop ducking.
I'm not ducking, Mr. Worm. I don't think it is prudent for me to discuss these type of security issues like on forums like these.
Did you fail us? Should we have continued to have confidence in you?
Well, Mr. Worm, please. You are sounding like there's an attack on the Assistant Commissioner of Police, whether it's his integrity or his competence. We cannot go wrong that route.
We have a right to ask if he failed us.
Mr. Worm, I understand your passion. No. I understand your passion, but please, let's keep that in check. Let's ensure that we have a professional press conference where we can, from RGPF standpoint, speak to the issues that we can speak about. Thank you very much.
I hear his answer, but Commissioner, my other question is a follow-up to what I think Calistra asked you.
Mm-hmm.
There was a prisoner that escaped from the south before, and recommendations were made in terms of beefing up security. You, as the principal officer in RGPF, did you do what had to be done in terms of the recommendation?
As I said, Mr. Wong, that even after I visited the South St. George Police Station, immediately after the information that that the guys escaped, I am still satisfied that if protocols are followed, the cell is a safe place.
The protocols were followed, you say? If it were followed, I didn't hear you clear.
That is the subject of our investigation. I am satisfied that the protocols that we have in place, if it was followed, it should not lead to the escape, even immediately after the report of the escape.
But my question is, did you do what had to be done based on the recommendations? And you're not answering that question.
You're asking me whether the cells are safe. And I'm saying to you, even after that point, the cells were safe.
What about the issue with the door? We understand there's an issue with the door there at the cell, that it cannot lock properly. We're hearing that.
I wish not to go into that detail. I just hope that you accept that I am saying that immediately after that, I was satisfied that the protocols, given the security arrangements and the structure of that cell, we should not have an escape.
He is satisfied that if protocols was followed, it should not have been an escape. So you're saying, one, protocols was not followed because there was an escape. Two, you are saying that you went there immediately after and you're satisfied. How could you be satisfied when the cell break up? Them guys move rods and thing and pass on. What you satisfied about then? There's nothing to be satisfied about. You looking at a cell that was destroyed for an escape. So what you satisfied about? What did you see there that make you satisfied? Be satisfied that the cell was okay? Then you cannot tell because it was destroyed. Grenada to the world, I say. Grenada to the world. And we're talking about people who, like me, who's speaking about it, and it's out there on YouTube. We must not speak about it because it's going international. That's international. International? Look, you have two police officers, they're going international, talking tata, trying to assume and trying to hide the fact that we can clearly see with our eyes shut. The two individuals that are missing, they are international individuals. They are from the US of A. They have family and friends. The story is on ABC, NBC, CNN. You name it, all of the major networks and then some are carrying it. What you talking about? We must shut up. We must hide, try to hide the nonsense, the incompetence that are taking place in our country from captain to cook. We have never fallen in this state with our RGPF and with the Commissioner of Police. Never in my 50-something years on this piece of rock have I seen this. Never. It is so obvious that ASP Cohen is not speaking factual. It is so obvious. Now, the gentleman from ABC News, he was invited to ask his second question.
Yes, thanks again. Again, Ansel Gibbs from ABC News. Just to the Commissioner, what would you say to the family members of Ralph and Kathy, the Americans who are missing at this time, about the work the police is doing, both of course in Grenada and St. Vincent, in this investigation, and perhaps are American authorities involved as well?
What I can say to the family is we're still hoping for we're still hoping for a what I consider a positive outcome, which is we still have the hope that that a worst case scenario will not be the reality. Should it happen, but we understand the stress that they are going through. And for that, we really send out our support and our prayers. When it comes to the investigation, as you would appreciate, all of that is happening within the authority of St. Vincent. What we can have done from our end, which is assist in collaboration, we have done that by dispatching 5 persons. But the question of the investigation, it's under the jurisdiction of the St. Vincent Authority.
10 days later, you are saying that if you had speak to the family of the individual, the missing individuals, you would give your condolences. Mr. Commissioner, 10 days later, you haven't spoken to the family of the missing individuals who disappeared from Grenada, who was hijacked from Grenada because of the incompetence of the RGPF, or negligence, for want of a better word. 3 convicts got escaped from Grenada, hijacked the individuals, took them, kidnapped them, took them throughout Carriacou, Petit Martinique, and you yet, as Commissioner of Police of Grenada, to speak to the families. You wishing them condolences and still hoping for a positive outcome. So what you wishing them condolences for? Condolences for what? And hope, and have hope. In other words, because what you said there about, that makes no sense. In other words, that you hope they were found alive, but you wishing them, they're found alive, but you wishing them condolences. I mean, let's move on. MTV and the second round.
My question is, considering that missing persons report, based on what I'm understanding from the press conference, is that missing persons bulletin has not yet been issued. So at what point the RGPF satisfied enough to be able to issue an official missing bulletin?
Let me see though. Because of that incident, we cannot leave out the input of authorities. The regional security system, Air Wing, has been heavily involved in patrolling the area. We have the St. Vincent Coast Guard also actively involved. I spoke to the head of maritime administration in Grenada, Mr. Redhead. A bulletin is out there to the mariners to be on the lookout. So there's a number of things that has been initiated, reference to locating these individuals, and if need be, that we think that there's more to be put out, anything that would help, we will pursue it.
Commissioner Edwin Martin, we appreciated you. At least some of us did. I guess this is where one say, you never miss the water till the well run dry. We wish you all the best in your endeavors, sir. And we also wish Commissioner Don McKenzie all the best in his endeavors as well, because he got to go. We take a quick break and come right back.
Thank you for tuning in to Simon Says. To ensure that you never miss an episode, click subscribe and make sure to turn on the notifications by clicking on the notification bell icon. See you at the next episode.
Welcome back. As I said in my special edition on Tuesday, real embarrassing stuff. Real kindergarten stuff. The commissioner said at one point, there's an investigation on the way. Is it on the way, Commissioner, or is it ongoing? You can't even get the basic stuff right. You can't even get, who hired this gentleman? I'm asking it again. Who hired this gentleman and on what merit? Now, today is 12 days since the escape of 3 criminals from the South St. George police station, 9 days since the escape of Livon Date from the Grenville Magistrate Court, and only yesterday we were given some kind of image of this guy, and they asked us to look out for him. He's armed and dangerous. Only yesterday, 8 days later, we were given an image of this guy. 6 days since the gun violence events, the shooting events in the marketplaces. 6 days. And the brandishing of a gun videotaped while a young man was being robbed in the street and beaten. And we have not heard a word from the powers that be, from the Prime Minister, from the acting Prime Minister, from any member of the cabinet who said, man, this is nonsense. No, let's say something. I am going to say something. None. Nobody. No member. Zip. Silence. And we think it's okay. We think it's all right for this to happen. The lives of scores of locals and visitors alike was threatened and in danger on Friday, the 23rd of February, 2024. Our vendors, speculators, customers, shoppers, visitors, tourists. There was a cruise ship in port. We're all running for their lives. And to date, no apologies from the powers that be. No one spoke or addressed the situation about the 3 escapees yet. No one. And the 2 Americans who's missing to date. No one from the powers that be. No one spoke to their families. There are nationals who sleep on the floor, been sleeping on their floors for months now, because at night there are explosions of gunshots rattling in their neighborhoods. And what did our Prime Minister say? It's not his fault. He's not responsible. Case done. Folks, but all is not lost. When it comes to leadership, at least we have a opposition these days, an opposition leader. And we did hear from the opposition leader. Actually, very early in the week, we heard, I think it was Monday, from the opposition leader. And this is his message to the nation. This was his message to the nation.
In moments like these, when the shadow of crime, and in particular gun violence, stretches across our beautiful Grenada, the call for strong leadership echoes louder than ever. It is a call that demands more than just attention. It requires action, empathy, and a steadfast commitment to the values that bind us as a community and a nation. In the gentlest of terms, the silence from our current leaders in the face of a growing wave of violence is worrying. The distressing events that have unfolded in our communities recently serve as a reminder of the crucial need for thoughtful, proactive leadership. This situation is bigger than merely addressing the influx of illegal firearms. It touches on a deeper, more profound understanding that at the core of the managing of the affairs of our country lies the important duty to safeguard the people of our land. Our approach in government should be rooted in the understanding that security is the bedrock of freedom. By securing our borders more effectively, investing in a robust Coast Guard, and more screening at our ports, we could address the issue of gun importation head-on, as we have done before. Furthermore, the promotion of police officers based on merit and competence, a policy championed during our time in office, should not be ignored at this time. It should be strengthened, followed, and improved where needed. This is not only necessary to boost morale, it is also about ensuring that our law enforcement is equipped both in skill and spirit to face these challenges. But beyond these measures, we must also turn our attention to the broader picture, engaging our communities directly in the fight against violence, strengthening our legal frameworks to deter criminal activities, and providing our youth with viable alternatives to violence are critical steps. These are not mere policy points. They are beacons of hope that can guide us towards a safer and more peaceful Grenada. The urgency of now demands that we come together to forge a future where every Grenadian can live without fear. It also demands strong and decisive leadership at the helm of our national security. This is our moment to act, to reaffirm our commitment to peace, security, and the enduring values that define us as a people.
I applaud the opposition for coming out and speaking out on the matter to show some form of leadership where our country is at this time. But I would not sit here and listen to you hired all officers by merit and competence, something like that, and not say that is not all totally true. And that there was some form of victimization in the police force. There has always been, from government administration to administration, and people being left behind because of their perceived support politically. I must say though, because there were times there were lawsuits to the NNP administration and stuff like that, where policemen sued because they figured they were supposed to get promotion and they didn't get. I must say that, yes, you did try to amend it in a way, and it was not as obvious as it was before. And that it has never been this bad and obvious as it is today. I agree to that much. And I also want to say that there are those who are in high places now, like the commissioner and the acting commissioner, Cohen and the lot, that they got promoted during the NNP time. which says a lot. Because if they didn't, they could not have just fallen into places now that the NDC is in office, right? During the NNP reign, the new commissioner, Don McKenzie, was promoted to commissioner of prisons twice. They promoted and then adjudicant. That's a rank between commissioner and deputy commissioner. I had to ask what that was. First time I've even heard the word, I've seen it. This was able, he was able to sit in the commissioner's chair after Martin was forced out. And all of this happened during NNP time. Randy Connaught, he was promoted from inspector to assistant superintendent, then superintendent. 2 promotions during the NNP period. That is the after the 2013 elections. Now, ASP Cohen, got promoted from sergeant to assistant, right? To assistant, all under the NNP. He went from sergeant to inspector to assistant superintendent in 2013, right before the election. And then in June of 2022, when the NDC came in, he became ACP. We have John Charles from superintendent, also ACP, in the same period after the 2013 election, right? Now, then there was Prince. They all got their promotions during that time of the NNP. So it wasn't as bad, but it wasn't squeaky clean as well. It wasn't squeaky clean. And I said you guys were trying to do better, but it wasn't squeaky clean. We had number 10 husband being promoted, and he didn't even do the exams as far as we were told, allegedly so. The leader of the opposition also called on the on a program, on the NNP program, and asking for people to be united, to stay calm, and offering the support of the opposition to help in any way they can. I commend the opposition and the NNP party for taking that leap forward, showing effective leadership at a point in time when it's badly needed. We are out here in the wilderness without the powers that be showing their proper leadership. I have in my possession a document that I have to share with you, and it will put light to some things that we've been hearing, some things that went by in that press conference. Let me pull it up here. I don't think I need my glasses. The fonts are very big. Office of the Commissioner of Police, Police Headquarters, Fort George, St. George's, the 12th of February, 2024, for police use only. That's funny, right? Because I have it in my possession. Royal Grenada Police Force Circular by Mr. Don McKenzie, Commissioner of Police, Circular number 5 of 2024. Commissioner of Police Don McKenzie, Public Service Commission has approved the following. 4 days vacation leave with effect from the 2nd to the 5th of January 2024 was reverted to his substantive office, and that's the Commissioner of Police we're talking about here, of Deputy Commissioner of Police on the 6th of January 2024. Retirement from the Royal Grenada Police Force effective 7th of January 2024 on the ground of age. So this gentleman is of age to retire. Please retire him. Was appointed in the office of the Commissioner of Police Royal Grenada Police Force on contractual basis with effect from the 7th of January. So they didn't send him home. They gave him a contract for a year, 2024, for a period of 1 year in the first instance. Confirmation of Assistant Commissioner of Police. Public Service Commission on January the 16th, January 2024, has confirmed the following officer appointment. Assistant Commissioner of Police, Royal Grenada Police Force, with effect from 1st of August 2023. This happened on the 16th. The Public Service Commission on the 16th of January confirmed the following, but it's going from the in effect from the 1st of August, retroactive. In other words, we're going to pay them the salary of whatever the assignment is from the 1st of August, because we just have money there. We have a lot of money there to give out. We have a lot of money. Only the hospital, we don't have no money for them, right? So Mr. Randy Connett, Mr. Randy Connett, ACP, circular number 5 of 2024 continue. Extension of Acting Assistant Commissioner of Police, Public Service Commission on the 16th of January 2024 extended the acting appointment of the following officer to act in the office of Assistant Commissioner of Police, Royal Grenada Police Force, with effect from the 1st of September 2023, the 31st of August, with effect from the 1st of September 2023 to the 31st of August 2024, and that is Vanny Cohen, ACP, acting ACP. Confirmation in rank, Public Service Commission, PSC, on the 16th of January 2024, have confirmed the following persons in the rank of superintendent with effect from the 1st of August 2023. 1, Mr. Glenroy Corian. 2, Mr. Holly George, and 3, Mr. Linford Kingston. Public Service Commission, PSC, on the 16th of January 2024, have confirmed the following persons in the rank of Assistant Superintendent of Police with effect from the 1st of August 2023. They're getting paid from then, although it was only just given the position. Mr. Trevor Rodney, Mr. Sheldon Thomas, Mr. Kenneth Bascom, Mr. Hudson Berkmeyer, and Mr. Garson Gill. Departmental transfer. Detective Sergeant Clifford Charles, transferred from CID, St. David, PS, to CID, SSG, PS, with effect from the 15th of January 2024. I did in fact find out what some of these meant and would share with you probably after I finish this here. Because we would put this, no, I take that back. The Detective Sergeant Terrell Jaxel, transferred from CID, SSG. SSG is Staff Sergeant. And yes, SSG is Staff Sergeant. PS to CID, St. David's, PS, with effect from the 5th of January 2024. Detective Sergeant number 132, Rondell Garcia, transferred from the CID, SSG, PS to CID, Grenville, PS, with effect from the 15th of January 2024. Detective CPL 600 CPL is Corporal. 600 Alex Robertson, transferred from CID Gov PS to CID SSG PS with effect from the 15th of January 2024. There are a few more. There is Mr. Ricardel Francis, Wesley Williams, and because in the interest of time, I want to get to the we're going to pass the transfers. There are a few of them well going on. I want to get to the retirements. And the first retirement is from Mr. Edwin Martin, COP. Retired from the Royal Grenada Police Force with effect from the 22nd of January, 2024 on the grounds of maximum service. Now, maximum service is when you can retire as a public servant when you get to a certain amount of years. You didn't get to the age, the retirement age, but you have served enough time to get what they call early retirement. So maximum service. We had Superintendent Glenn Paul, retired from the Royal Grenada Police Force with effect from the 22nd of January, 2024 on the grounds of age. Detective Inspector number 653, Raymond Lockerbie, retired from the Royal Grenada Police Force with effect from the 11th of January, 2024 on the grounds of maximum service. Corporal Edward Fortune, number 719, retired from the Royal Grenada Police Force with effect from the 1st of January, 2024 on the ground of maximum service. WCPL, and that is Woman Corporal, number 331, Mary Andrew, retired from the Royal Grenada Police Force with effect from the 9th of January, 2024 on the ground of maximum service. CPL, Corporal number 260, Dennis Jukaran, retired from the Royal Grenada Police Force with the effect from the 1st of February, 2024 on the grounds of service. Corporal number 627, Kino Pierre, retired from the Royal Grenada Police Force with effect from the 6th of February, 2024 on the grounds of maximum service. WPC number 79, that is woman Corporal Christine Prince, retired from the Royal Grenada Police Force with effect from the 1st of January, 2024 on the grounds of maximum service. PC number 69, Ian Nelson, retired from the Royal Grenada Police Force with effect from the 1st of January, 2024 on the grounds of maximum service. Denver Gabriel, retired from the Royal Grenada Police Force with effect from the 7th of February, 2024 on the grounds of maximum service. PC number 792, Clifton Smith, retired from the Royal Grenada Police Force with effect from the 9th of February, 2024 on the grounds of age. Now, some of these police officers who have been retired and is trying to apply for their pension were told, do not apply now, apply from April. I heard that from other public servants that they've given a date to apply because they're not ready for them as yet. I don't know if it's financially, if it's administratively, but they're telling them when to apply for the pension. So they're losing a few months, really. And you know, I had to. There are more on that document. But as I said, in an interest of time, I wouldn't go through that entire document. Another time, maybe I can, depending on a need to know basis, because that's what we deal in now, need to know, I would come back to you on that. At this point, I'll take a quick break and come right back.
Thank you for tuning in to Simon Says. To ensure that you never miss an episode, click subscribe and make sure to turn on the notifications by clicking on the notification bell icon. See you at the next episode.
Welcome back, listeners. We go straight into the question and answer. We're already out of time. I had so much juice for y'all, but you know what? There's always next week. Question. Well, I did ask about the NDC party and where are they in a couple of episodes gone by. And so when I heard in the news that the NDC was the general secretary was coming to give an update as to where the NDC is today and the engine and everything, I thought, wow, okay, lovely. Let me hear where they are. And it is obvious the NDC has become a diaspora party. And the party, according to the General Secretary, has affirmed that the party was in robust shape with all structures fully operational and functioning effectively. And so my ears cock up. I poke up now and I want to hear what's going on there. And then this is what the GenTech had to say.
We had consultations with our diaspora group. We have elected executives in New York, elections coming up there in March. We have elected executive in Canada, elections just gone there in September. We have elected executive in UK, elections coming up in March. And we have elected executive in Miami. An election was just held there for a new executive after the successful Miami Gala.
Mr. Barry, how about the NDC Grenada? Tell us something about the NDC Grenada. Y'all are making joke when y'all say y'all plan to win that election by the diaspora and have them registered, come here for a day, vote, leave us in our mess with this incompetent, inept administration, and go back to where you are, sit on your high horses, take over the social media in support of them. And we sit here bawling with our face screwed. To the Cabinet of Grenada, when are we going to get a first report from the various committees you have out there investigating? The Faith Organization, investigating CJ's consultant, and investigating the oil and gas saga. Any word on the missing documents? The question remains, who is the Minister of ICT? On the Government of Grenada website, none of the ministers, including the Prime Minister, since the last reshuffle, was assigned Minister of ICT. Is there a Ministry of ICT anymore? Is it true another member of cabinet was able to secure a loan from the Grenada Development Bank, the GDB, for his daughter this time? Is that in the affirmative? Is it true no legislation is in place for the increase in the licensing fees, and that the government of Grenada is collecting that extra $50 illegally? Folks, I have a question for Ms. Purcell. But before I want to talk a little bit about money spent, and we really do need accountability for the money spent during the celebrations. Do you know that the delegations that visited for the February 7th celebration visited on all expense paid by the government and people of Grenada? And I understand, because I did try to investigate, that is the first time that delegates who come for these celebrations are being put up in hotels under the expense of the people of government and people of Grenada. Do you know that some delegates were booked at one of the most expensive resorts on the island? One at the most southern end of the Grandlands Beach, a 6-star locally owned hotel. And do you know that by orders of the Prime Minister, they were removed and put up at the most expensive hotel in Grenada, at the other end of the Grandlands Beach. And all delegates were put up there, all. Do you know that we still had to pay the 6-star resort because the change was too soon to the date, and because it was out of the grace period? Hotels normally charge, because this is peak season for one, and they could have had reservations from tourists or other Grenadians who were coming home. What we want to know is the total invoice for the expenses paid for the delegation. Because that hotel at the beginning of the beach there, what we would call the beginning of the beach, it's like $10,000 a night, as we understand it. Something like that. I stand corrected. So we need accountability. We paid for the St. Vincent Police Band. We paid for for them to stay wherever they stayed. We had to pay for that as well. And I want to end with a question, a real question to Ms. Bristol. You said in your update press conference after the February 7th celebration that the celebration was on par. The money, the budget was on par. In fact, you said it was below the average, right? Ms. Person, can you explain to us how it is that the ordinary people, not the companies like your company and Mr. Orlando company and your husband and Mr. Orlando's brother and his sister, not those, the ordinary man, not the commoners, so to speak, how is it that they have to see trouble to get their money, and that they have sent in their invoices, and every day is a different story to pay them their money? They have submitted their invoices to you, Ms. Purcell, and they are still struggling to receive payments. How is that possible? Folks, that's a wrap on today's episode of Simon Says. Always a pleasure conversing with you, keeping them honest. Thank you for viewing another episode of Simon Says, where facts come first. See you next week, same time, same place, for another episode of Simon Says. Have a great week. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to Simon Says. To ensure that you never miss an episode, click subscribe and make sure to turn on the notifications by clicking on the notification bell icon. See you at the next episode.